So let me do this past paper question in QA. QA is quantitative analysis. These are the topic functions. Functions, you need to know functions because it's a common question in QA, quantitative analysis. QA currently it is in part 2, part 1, that's foundation level of CPA. But in universities also, it's also their functions, revenue function, cost functions, etc, etc. So for now, allow me to do May 2016 question number 1C, May 2016 1C, and I read the question. So these past papers, they are online, so you can get them. QA May 2016 question number 1C. I'm going to read. Shujaa Limited deals in the manufacture of a product named Z. The product Z is produced on order and the company does not keep inventory of the product. The demand and total cost functions in thousands of shillings of the company are given as follows. So we are given the first function here is P is equals to 190 minus Q. And we also given another function here, total cost of TC is equals to Q squared plus 10Q plus 500. We are told where P is the unit selling price, Q is the quantity demanded in units, TC is the total cost, then required, Roman 1, required, the maximum profit of the company. The maximum profit of the company. So, anytime you are given a function or a question for functions or in this topic, basic mathematical techniques and functions, whenever you see profits, whenever you read the required, it guides you. So the first thing, read the required part. So it means the maximum profit. Ask yourself, how do you get profits? So you need to write here, profit is equals to, we use pi for the profit, is total revenue, minus the total costs. Then ask yourself again, then what are you given by the examiner? Between total revenue and total costs, I can see I am given the total cost function. So if I'm given the total cost function, I need to know how do I get the total revenue because it is not given. So this one is not given. So that is the next step. Well, how to get the total revenue. And we know total revenue is price times the quantity or the selling price times the units or the quantity. So what are you given by the examiner? P. I have seen an equation for P here. Here is the P. So we are told P is equals to 190 minus Q. So this is P. So this is P. Or this is P. So yeah. So you need to multiply by Q to get the total revenue. So multiply this one by Q because Q was the units. And then this will give you a total revenue. When you open up these brackets, to be 190 times Q is 190Q minus Q times Q, it's minus Q squared. So already now I have my total revenue, I have my total cost, meaning I can get profit. Profit I have said is total revenue, which is here 190Q minus Q squared. So that's revenue minus total cost function is here Q squared plus 10Q plus 500. So let's now open up these brackets. So when you open up those brackets, profits will be equals to 190Q minus Q squared. This will be minus again Q squared minus 10Q because this is negative and this is positive, so be negative 10Q. Then negative positive to be now negative 500. So let's collect the like terms. 190Q minus 10Q. So we have these two like terms here, which will be 180. So profit will be equals to 180Q. Then we have minus Q squared minus Q squared. It will be minus what? 2Q squared. Then minus 500. So that is the profit function. So if the examiner needed the profit function, you stop at that point. But in our question, read the required identity, we need the maximum profit, meaning profit in shillings. So whenever you hear of maximization of profit or maximum profits, remember you must differentiate the profit function. So that we have the profit function, let's differentiate it. So differentiation could be changed, or I can use D profit over DQ. D profits or change in profit caused by the change in the independent variable, which is down Q. So let's differentiate the function. This is 1 times 180 because that's what you do when differentiating. Multiply the power with the base value. This Q is raised to power 1. 1 times 180 is 180. Reduce the power by 1. So it's like saying 1 minus 1 because Q is raised to power 1, which is 0. Any number raised to power 0, it is 1. So this Q now becomes 1. And 180 times 1 is 180. That's why the Q disappears. Then minus Q times, no, sorry, 2 times 2 is 4. Reduce the power by 1. This was raised to power 2, so now it will be 4 Q raised to power 1. Because it is 2 minus 1 is equals to 1. We don't write the 1 here. Then this is a constant. The derivative of a constant is equals to 0. Whenever you differentiate a constant, you get 0. That's why we are saying changing profits caused by the change in Q. The place where, or in this function, you only differentiate with respect to Q. Only where Q is where it's going to be affecting the function. So here, there is no Q, so because it's the change in profit caused by the change in Q and there is no Q here, so you differentiate only that part of the function where there is Q. And the first order condition under differentiation, we have the conditions for when differentiating a function, or the conditions for turning points. Number 1 is the first order condition, number 2 is the second order condition. First order condition requires that whenever you differentiate a function, equate the function to 0. So I have differentiated it, I'll equate it to 0. It's equals to 0. So from there I can get my Q. 180 is equals to 4Q, because I've taken Q the other side. Otherwise, if you don't put there, equal to 0, you cannot finish the question. So and both sides by 4 to get the value for Q, and my Q will be equals to what? 180 divided by 4, what's I getting? 180 divided by 4. Yeah? 45. Thank you. 45 units. So that is the Q. Examiner does not need even the unit, but he needs the profit, maximum profit. After getting the units to maximize profit, or the output to maximize profit, then you need to go ahead, substitute where you have the Q in your profit function with 45. So my profit function is here. So maximum profit will be 180. Multiply this one. Q now is 45. Minus 2 into 45 squared. Then minus 500. So that is what will give you your maximum profit. So give me this value. So what is our maximum profits? So 180 times 45 minus 2 into 45 squared minus 500. So 2 for me, that's one. Then give me that value.
3550.
30?
3550.
3550. So that is what the examiner needed. Maximum profits. So this is the maximum profits. Then Roman 2 of the question says the output level that would maximize total revenue. Output level that maximizes the total revenue. So whenever you have maximum output level to maximize the total revenue, any time you hear of maximization, you must differentiate the function. If it is a maximization of profit, like the first one here, maximum profit, we had to get the profit function and differentiated it. Maximum revenue, you need to get the revenue function, which already we have, and differentiate it. Our revenue function is here, 190Q minus Q squared. So our total revenue is 190Q minus Q squared. Here we have it. So differentiate this one to get Q. Output. Output is units. Output is the way we differentiated and determine the value for Q for profits. But this one is the output to maximize not profit but revenue. So change in total revenue caused by the change in Q. which would be equals to 190, because it's 1 times 190 is 190. Reduce the power by 1, the q disappears, or it remains raised to power 0, and the number raised to power 0 is 1. Minus 2 times this q is here, there's a 1 here which we did not write, because we cannot say 1q, we normally say q. So 2 times 1 is 2. Q, reduce the power of q by 1 raised to power 1, which is now what? You equate the equation to 0. Whenever you differentiate, you must equate to 0. That's what you've just said. So I can get what my value for q190 is equals to 2q. So the q will be divided by 2 divided by 2. Q is equals to what? 190 divided by 2 is 90? 25 units. And that is what the examiner needed for that question. So ensure you get it well, go through it well, get to understand. In case of any challenge in my YouTube channel, you can just reach me, call me, WhatsApp me, and I will answer you accordingly. Ensure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So that is one of the questions. In the end, we are continuing to do more questions.